Welcome to Wildcat Sports Update. I'm Jim Boyle, and I'm honored to have in studio with me the boys and girls tennis captains from the 2022 season. Joining me today, we have Anae Gandhi, we have Alyssa Freesia, and we have Carolyn Haas-Tim. So welcome and to Wildcat Sports Update. Let's start with you, Anae. Just real quickly, just a quick background of your career at Wilmington, tennis, and anything else you'd like to tell me.
Yeah, so I've been playing for 6 years, played singles. I played third, second, and first for the past few years, and it's been a ton of fun playing for coach and playing for the team.
Okay, listen.
I've been on the team since I was a freshman. I was first doubles, sophomore, and junior year, and then I was second singles my senior year.
Okay, and Carolyn?
I played for the last 2 years, and I played third singles the last 2 years.
Okay, real quick, how did you get involved in tennis, Carolyn? Just real quick.
Well, I just wanted to join freshman year, but then I couldn't because of COVID. So then I joined last year and just had fun.
Okay, and fun is, and you seem to be very competitive as well, correct? Fun.
Yeah.
And quickly on the 2022 season, what were your impressions going in, and what do you think coming out?
Going in, I was just excited to do more of what I did last year, but with more experience. And then coming out, I feel like I kind of achieved that.
Okay, so we'll piggyback on that on the 2022 season. What were the what were the goals going in? What were your team goals going in, and what were your individual goals?
Team goals, just to have fun, have a good last season. Me personally, I didn't think I was going to do great. I've never played singles before, so I had really low expectations. But I really actually won more games than I thought I was going to win, so I was pretty proud of that.
Okay, and Anae, going in, goals for the boys team?
Yeah, so coming off our season last year, I had high hopes for this season, and I'm glad we were able to make it as far as we did. And I'm happy with how the season went and where we placed in the playoffs.
And last year you were Freedom Division champions, for the first time in school history, correct?
Yeah.
So this year, where did we end up Freedom Division?
In the Freedom Division, we were second. We were tied with Burlington for
Okay,
second.
time. And then the goal was to do well in the state tournament?
Yeah.
And how did that go?
We won the first 2 rounds, and then we lost in the quarterfinals. So I'm glad we made it to the quarterfinals. That was a big thing for Wilmington, the boys tennis team.
That's good. Now, the makeup of your team, sophomores, freshmen, junior, senior, how do we look future-wise? What's the makeup?
Yeah, our team has a ton of depth. I was the only senior this year, and we have 1 junior. But apart from that, we have 5 starting sophomores and freshmen, and the rest of JV is all sophomores and freshmen. So for the next 4 years, it looks really good for the boys tennis team.
Okay, and Alyssa, makeup of your squad.
I feel like there's a lot of juniors, incoming juniors, and then we had a lot of incoming freshmen this year. So.
Okay, and how many total do you think, just in general? Is there 50? Is there 20? We've seen enrollment go down in Wilmington, and we've seen participation in athletics go down in Wilmington. Mm-hmm. One of the areas I think we've seen a growth is in the girls and boys tennis teams.
I think over the past couple of years, the girls tennis team has definitely grown. When I was a freshman, there's only 10 of us on the team, and now there's 22. So with 5 of us leaving, I think that there will be more freshmen coming in, though. Okay,
and Carolyn, you're a junior. You were elected captain. What do you see your role as a captain of this unit, this team?
I think it's just kind of giving the younger girls advice and preparing them for the games and setting up stuff for games and for the banquet. Okay, and are you going to be, this is probably a front, are you going to be a captain again next year? Yes.
Okay. Anybody joining you next year?
Yeah, there'll probably be one person, and we're going to decide that tonight at the banquet.
Okay, good. So, role as captain, Alyssa, you're a senior.
Yeah.
And you said you started playing singles this year.
Yeah.
So, you've been through the whole ringer of the program, right, from the freshman year to senior year. Yeah. What did you go into as a senior captain? What did you see your role as?
I was that type of person that was always getting the team hyped up, always talking to everybody. And I just kind of did all the stuff behind the scenes. I coordinated the gifts and the merch and everything like that.
Okay. And Anae, you were the sole captain of the boys team. Did that come? Was it difficult? What were your expectations going in as a captain? How did it play out?
Yeah, all the previous captains that we've had, they were all lead by example. They held that motto, and I was just doing my best to follow through with that, leading by example for the team. And I think it went well during practices, during matches, just playing your best and working at your best just to improve for every single match as you go.
Okay, now you're all 3 of you experienced the COVID years, and it was a tough, especially on athletics, because in 2020 we lost the whole spring season, so your spring season went away. Last year we played a limited schedule. So going in, we'll start with you, Anae. What are the differences you saw between this year and last year And then specifically, what was it like, bus rides or team events or that sort of thing?
Yeah, so obviously the schedule was a lot different. We played the same 10 matches as last year, but plus we played the Liberty Division teams, so that included the big powerhouses, Winchester, Lexington. So obviously those were tough matches, especially for the sophomores and freshmen, because they haven't been exposed to those that level of play, which is a lot different. So I think our team did really good with it in terms of keeping our confidence throughout the whole season and not getting that hurt by those big teams and all those good players. And on that note, the bus rides, and just being more with the team altogether really helped out with keeping the team together, keeping that confidence up, and keeping the team spirit alive.
Now, was there, this year for the first time in my life, I got to ride a school bus with a team. Was there music played, or was there certain protocols that you set as a captain of the bus going to and coming from?
Not really. I mean, everyone listened to their own music, but there was no team music per se. But
Okay.
everyone was listening to music, doing their own thing, and yeah. But the bus rides overall were a lot of fun, being all together.
Okay, unless I come to you, again, like I said, the two of you have also been through this. What did you see as the difference between this year and last year with regards to the way things are played, scheduling, bus rides, that sort of thing?
Just like Anae said, playing the Liberty Division teams was a lot, especially with the new players on the team. But I think those teams, although we didn't do as well as we expected to, I do think that we got better from that. Playing those difficult teams really gives you something to work off of. And I think that even though we didn't win, but we really did play our hardest, and that goes to show.
Good. And Carolyn, you said you lost your freshman season because of the COVID, so it would have been your first year of the team. How did you see then your introduction to tennis, which was the tail end of our COVID, where you played 5 teams, and this year, how did you see that difference?
This year it just kind of felt a lot more like a team sport. Last year was kind of slower pace and everything was calmed down, and this year it felt really like a team, really like a high school sport.
Okay, good. Now, you start off as a freshman. You played as a freshman as well,
Yeah.
and I know you were on the team as a freshman.
Yeah.
So, what's your philosophy in recruiting players to come play? If a 9th grade girl comes up to you, Carolyn, what are you going to say to her? I want to play tennis. What would you say to her?
I'd say go for it, because it's not don't be nervous. The team's very relaxed, and it's a lot of fun, and everyone will be there to support you, even if you play singles or doubles. So.
Okay, Alyssa, what would you?
I'd say definitely do it, just because it's an easy sport to pick up on.
Okay.
You don't have to have a ton of experience to play it.
Okay, and easy sport to pick up. Have you seen me play tennis? I don't know how easy it is. And Abe, how about yourself? I know that you have a brother who's in 10th grade that plays with you. What would you give, not to your brother, but as an experienced player, what would you say to the 9th grade parent in Boyle who comes up and says, I want to play varsity tennis?
Yeah, it's the same thing, but I mean, as all of the sports, it takes experience to get better. So just be prepared to put the time in, put the work in order to get to the level that you want to reach. But it's a lot of fun, and you can have fun while doing it, so give it a shot.
So as an experienced tennis player, what do you find the hardest thing for a newcomer to learn or to do? Keep score, a serve, hit a volley, hit a backhand. What would you think that would be?
I'd say more of the technical aspects in terms of having good technique on every single stroke, because a lot of the game, how to win, strategic stuff like that can all be learned, and you can keep them in the back of your head. But having the muscle memory to hit the stroke properly every single time, that just takes practice and technique. So it's that time that you have to put in order to master that takes the most amount of effort and time.
Okay, good. Alyssa, did you have to learn how to keep score because it's kind of funky sometimes?
No,
or is that something that you always knew that?
I always knew it, but I didn't have to learn it.
Okay, and Carolyn, same question. What was the biggest thing you had to learn about playing tennis when you first joined?
I didn't know any of the rules. I didn't even know that you scored it yourself. And the biggest thing for me was just keeping track of deuce, because I had no idea that was a thing last year.
Okay, that's good. So we've talked about talking to a high school student. What if a 5th grade or 4th grade parent came up to you, Carolyn? What advice would you give them?
I'd say just let them have fun, because they're pretty young, and if they are interested in playing in high school, maybe their 7th or 8th grade year, they can play on a club team or something.
Okay, Alyssa, same question to you.
I'd suggest probably looking into rec camps over the summer and stuff like that, just to get a couple hits in and see if they really like it.
Okay, and Abe?
Yeah, on that note, rec camps and clubs would be perfect. Just getting exposed to the sport more, playing more, and just learning basic techniques and stuff like that, just so when you start as a freshman, you have a sense of what's going on. You're not completely new to the sport.
Okay, now if you guys all do, I assume were there no cuts? Everyone who tried out made the team. Is that the way we work here in Wilmington? Okay, so you'd be able to tell them you're going to play. You get exposure to it. Let's just real quick, Anna, let's go to your run to the state tournament because I know you guys made the quarterfinals, which you said was really achieving a big goal for you. How did that play out? Who played 1, 2, and 3, and who were your first and second doubles, first of all, teammates?
Yeah, so during the regular season, our 1, 2, and 3 were me, my brother, and then Sid Karani, and our first dubs was Owen and Sarthak Tripathi, and then we'd switch off for second dubs with Ryan Weinstein, Mike Samaroff, and Eric Backer. But then coming into the playoffs, our third singles, Sid, he got injured, so then Owen stepped up to play third singles, and so our first match we were able to win 5-0, and I thought Owen did a fantastic job of stepping up to the singles as he's never played before, and he was able to win 6-1 and 6-1. So he did a great job of filling in that role of Sid. And then second round of the tournament, we were able to win again, a 3-2 win, and that was my favorite part of the season as our second doubles. It was tied 2-2 the match, and it came down to second dubs, and they were able to save 2 match points in order to win the match. That got us the win as a team. So that bumped us into the quarterfinals, and then I thought quarterfinals went well. Everyone played their best. We lost 3-2, but it was a good experience, and I'm glad we even made it that far.
Well, that's good. Congratulations on getting that far.
Thank you.
Alyssa, really quick, 1, 2, 3, and 1 and 2 doubles. Who are student athletes?
So Shubhangi Tripathi was our first singles. I was second singles. Carolyn was third. Our first doubles was Maddie Benoit and Sophia Levita. And then our second doubles kind of like switched, but most consistently it was Julia Kane and Maida Paul.
Okay, and how many of those girls are coming back next year?
Majority of all of them. It's only me and Maida that are seniors.
Seniors are going out? Okay. And Carolyn, we'll start with the coaches with you. Coach Hackett, who's been the coach here at Wilmington for a while. What do you gather? What do you see as his coaching style? How does he teach? How does he motivate? How does he, correct?
I feel like he has a very good attitude about the sport and just telling people to have fun and just hit the ball. And it's kind of like a relaxed way of teaching, but I've definitely learned a lot this year. Okay,
what's one thing, like if you could say something to the Coach Hackett right now, what would you want to say to him after the season's over?
I'd say thank you for giving me the chance to play varsity, and especially considering I just went into it last year not expecting it, and just supporting me even if I didn't always have the best outcomes in the end of games.
Good. So a lot of respect and reliance on the coach, especially coming in new. So same questions for you, Alyssa. How would you describe Coach Hackett as a coach?
I think he's very optimistic, even way too optimistic at some points. But I do think that he is super energetic and super into the sport, and it's just really it's good being around and makes you want to play more.
Good. And what's one thing that you learned from him? You're going to go off into the world now as a senior, and you're going to look back and say, well, "This is one thing that I learned from Coach Hackett."
Always stay positive.
That's good. That's good. And Coach Malley has been around a while as well. He's built. You guys, both coaches, done a really good job building up a high school tennis program. What would you say is his coaching style? Is he there to correct, or is he there to motivate, or is he there to make sure you're following along the right line?
He's definitely there to correct and make sure you're following around the right line. He's a super technical and disciplinary coach where he makes sure you're doing all your strokes correctly, have the perfect technique before you move on and get better, just so you have all the foundations down and you can really progress as fast as you can.
So he's a very good teacher of tennis, I would imagine. So
yeah.
I'm going to ask you 2 more questions. The girls only got 1 extra question. But how did he help you from freshman to senior? How did you see him help your growth into the #1 player?
Yeah, so freshman year, I was not as confident in my playing abilities, and really, I wasn't hitting out as much as I could have. And he really taught me all the basics very well, just so when I did play the big powerhouses like Lexington and Winchester, I was able to compete with them and not just get absolutely destroyed. And he helped me keep my confidence high, which really played out in the long term as senior year. A bunch of the 3-set matches I had, I was able to overcome them and pull out a win just because of all that experience that he gave me freshman and sophomore year.
Okay, what's one thing as you go off into the future that you'll take away from Coach Malley?
His positive thinking, for sure. Whenever I was down in those second and third set situations, he'd always tell me that there's a way to pull out a win, and I'll take that from him forever.
So both coaches with their positive thinking, it's great. And that's really good. We don't. I think at times we don't give our coaches enough credit. They always take a lot of blame. We don't lose. Kids get mad. Parents get mad. But it's really nice to hear the high school student talking about positively with their coaches. Just a real quick, Alyssa, there's a boys team and a girls team. Is there any time you practice with them or that you cross paths?
At the end of the year, we do like a conjoined like practice between the boys and the girls.
Okay, and how does that work?
Each year it's a little different. Like sometimes we'll like do like first singles against first singles and stuff like that, or we'll mix up like doubles teams and play each other.
So would there possibly, let me ask this, if we're going to put a mixed doubles team together, who would be your mixed doubles partner?
An A.
An A?
Yeah.
Okay, Carolyn, who would be your mixed doubles partner?
I guess Sid, because he's the other third singles player.
Okay. Well, you don't have to go third singles player. She's two. She took an A. That's okay, fine. And then an A, if you were going to play doubles, who mixed doubles, who would be your partner?
I'll take Alyssa.
Okay, I was gonna say.
You better take
I always
her.
thought it would have been rude.
And then if you guys, Carolyn and Alyssa, you played doubles before you played singles, or not?
I did, yeah.
You did? Who was your doubles partner?
Johanna Robinson.
Okay, and she graduated last year,
Yes.
correct? And have you played doubles, Carolyn, or not? No. And a doubles or not?
No.
If you were going to play doubles with a boys tennis partner, who would that be?
I guess I'll take my brother.
I had to drag that out of your face once or twice. What's it like being on the team with your brother? He's a younger sibling. He's a sophomore, I think, right?
Yeah.
What's that like? You're a captain. He's your brother. You know, I have two brothers at home. Not at home. Two brothers I grew up with. What's that dynamic like?
I'd say it's a good thing just because he's always trying to get better to beat me, and I'm always just making sure that as he gets better, I don't just lose focus on anything, just to make sure that we have the relationship between us, the bigger brother relationship.
So what do you see in not just your brother, in the younger players? And we'll go back to the same question as the future, as we look toward the future before we look at you guys individually. What do you see as the future for what you're leaving? What's coming up from behind? Are they going to be able to maintain the level of success that you've had for the last 2 years?
I think so for sure. I think there's a ton of depth for the team just because we had the waiver for middle schoolers being able to play. So a bunch of the current freshmen and sophomores, they're not freshmen and sophomores. They've been playing for 2 to 3 years, and that'll really pay off their junior year and senior year because no one else that they're playing has had the 3-4 experiences on their belt like they do. And that'll really kick in terms of those long matches, just having the confidence that they'll have.
Okay, and we're going to start with Alyssa because you're the one who's leaving the program, and we'll come back to you, Carolyn, because you're the one who's going to lead everybody in the future. What do you see as going forward with the program, future-wise, with what you've played with and you've been associated with?
I think that like the team number is definitely going to increase just because I see within like the underclassmen, it's like the desire to get better. Like everybody's there to like be better and work hard.
Okay, and Carolyn, you're the returning player. How do you see the future going forward, and do you see it continue to grow as it's grown?
I think it'll definitely grow considering our first singles is a freshman, and all the freshmen are very interested in the sport, and so I'm sure the incoming freshmen are going to look up to them and want to do that too.
Now I'm going to go back to the girls again. The 8th grade waiver has been in play a couple years, I think, correct?
Not since I've been on the team.
No, so the prior to that, the boys have the 8th grade.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you were a freshman, Carolyn, who did you look up to get you to feel like you're comfortable in playing better? Who was there someone there?
Probably the captains of the time were Johanna and Viddy and
Lauren.
Yeah.
Okay, and now that you're a captain, what are you going to take away from Alyssa's captaincy? What are you going to take? What good is she going to take from her when you go next year?
I'm going to probably try to be more energetic this year because she was definitely the energetic one this year.
Okay. And who was responsible for music on the bus?
Me.
Alyssa.
And did they play a lot of music on the bus, or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So going to and coming from.
Yep. Both ways.
One of the things I can ask all three of this that as a coach, it seems like the losses are more difficult on the coaches than they are on the players. The players are the student athletes, we call it, are really good at recovering from a loss and getting back on that bus or walking in the locker room, and all of a sudden somehow you clean the slate, you're ready to go forward with life. Do you see that, Carolyn? Is that something that's because of your youth, or because you know what, there's always going to be another day for you? I'm just curious.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, and we want to have fun bus rides, so we kind of just look past a loss.
Okay. Alyssa?
Yeah, I feel like that's like definitely a thing across all sports.
Do you guys ever get, and I'm going to come back to you on this, do you ever get, is there a disappointment, and how long does that last? I mean, you made the tournament, but you had a tough season, right? But is there lingering like a doubt after you lose, or is it something, okay, we did our best, we lost, we're going to move forward, keep moving?
I think yes, but then I think once you hit the bus, it's like, okay, done, push it, it's in the past, new set.
And then we're going to come back to you here then. Disappointed after a loss, how quickly are you going to recover? Do you get mad if people are happy on the bus if you've lost?
I mean, the disappointment always stays, but like at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about that and change it. And oftentimes a loss is more helpful than a win, just because you know something that you're doing wrong and can improve from that. So might as well take the best from it. You can't change the outcome.
That's good. So now we're my favorite part of the program, where we really get some individual, get a feel for who you guys are and what you're made of. So first question, and I've asked Carolyn this, a former teammate that you learned from who helped you to get to the spot that you're in now.
I'd say Chris Spinazzola. He graduated 2 years ago, and he would just run around everywhere, get to every single ball, and he had amazing stamina, and I'd say that really inspired me to build up my endurance, my stamina, and really get to every single ball that I can get to.
Okay, and one favorite this year, what's the highlight of this year for you?
Probably that second round of the playoffs match, I was watching I was be down 2 match points and still pulling out a win. That was amazing.
And then overall tennis career, what's the number one highlight for you?
I'd say my match with Lexington freshman year. Even though I lost, it was a 3-set match, which I came really close to winning, and I was proud of that just because Lexington's such a strong team, ranked 1 or 2 in the state, and I was happy that I was able to compete that hard with them.
Good. And other sports activities you do at the high school, or you did at the high school, because I got 2 alumni with me now. So.
I played soccer.
Okay. And soccer and tennis.
Yeah, soccer and tennis. Those are my 2 big sports.
And current teammate, not your brother, who inspires you, who gets you motivated to move forward, to do well.
I'll say Owen. Owen's super disciplined and always looking to get better, really improving on himself and making sure that he can be the best player he can be, and that makes me want to be my best self. Okay,
now I'm going to ask this because everybody has a favorite tennis player or athlete, and then a player you model your game after.
I'd say my favorite is Kyrgios, just because he's a tennis player and he plays with a really fun attitude. And I'd like to say I model my game off of Nadal. I have his racket, I have his bag. But I just love the way he plays with so much spin, and I wish I could play like that.
Okay, and the stumper of the questions I asked, walk-up song we call it. What music is in your head when you're getting ready to play?
I'll say Family Ties by Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem.
Okay, what are you going to miss the most?
Just the idea of playing for the high school team and showing up to every single match, knowing you're playing for Wilmington.
And what are your plans for your future plans?
I'm going to UMass Amherst to study computer science, and I'm hoping they don't have a varsity tennis team, so I'm hoping to start one there.
Okay, good. And Alyssa will go same gamut as you, a former teammate who you really learned from.
Lauren Diarco, she was a captain last year. We became really close friends last year, and she really gave me a lot of advice on how to play singles and how to fulfill the captain role this year.
Okay, highlight from this year?
Winning my first singles match against Reading in 3 sets.
Good, and your top overall tennis highlight of the whole?
My win against Reading.
That's very good. Other activities that you do within the high school? Or
I play volleyball.
You play volleyball? Yeah. And what are you going to miss the most about high school athletics?
Definitely being a part of a team and having teammates to rely on.
Okay, and it doesn't have to be a tennis player, but your favorite athlete or somebody a role model you'd like to model your?
Probably my favorite tennis player is probably Serena Williams, but my grandmother says I play like her, but okay. I think she's just saying that to be nice.
Yeah, that's what we have grandmothers for, to be good for you. And then a current teammate who helps you motivate you and move you forward.
Maddie Benoit, because she's always yelling across from me from her game saying, "Let's go, Alyssa, you can do it."
And your walk-up song, or the song you're playing in your head, or the one that you want to play on the bus after you win?
Pursuit of Happiness by Kid Cudi.
And what are your plans, future plans this year?
So I'm going to UConn. I'm going to study pharmacy, get a Pharm D, and then I'm going to try out for the club volleyball team there.
That's awesome. And back to you, Carolyn. We talked about a former player or teammate. What about current teammate that you draw motivation from? Or you?
I'd definitely say Alyssa, because I got to look up to her the last 2 years and work with her this year. And every practice we were playing against each other, and it's a lot of fun.
And your memory from this year, favorite tennis memory?
Probably the tournament 2 weeks ago. I got a big 3-set win after having COVID, and I wasn't feeling well, but I pulled it out.
Excellent. And and that might be their overall win, but total overall tennis memory.
That's my best.
That's the same thing. What are you going to miss the most about Alyssa?
I'll probably just miss playing with her and seeing her like every day after practice.
Oh.
Okay, and your favorite either tennis player or athlete that you like to try to model your game after?
I'll say Serena Williams too.
Okay. And again, let's do the music piece. Favorite like a song you're going to listen to as you get going?
Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift. It's just a fun song.
Okay, now we don't have to have anything you're going to miss because you get to come back next year. And we don't really, future plans I assume are to play Wilmington High School tennis. Other sports or activities you do at the high school?
I also play basketball.
Okay, good. Now we let everyone do this. We're going to start with you. Look straight into the camera here, number 3, and to give a shout out to anybody that you want to give a shout out to. Look right in that camera right there for me.
I'll shout out to my mom and dad and sister.
Okay. And Alyssa, guess what? You get to do the same thing. Just look right in that camera and give a shout out to anybody.
I'm going to give a shout out to my mom, my brother, and my dad.
Okay, and Anae?
I'll give a shout out to my brother, my parents, and Coach Maley.
Okay, perfect. And listen, the three of you, I appreciate you coming in for this edition of Wildcat Sports Update. It's always great to have the student athletes in on the program, and I will say, and I've told you this before, and I'm always impressed with our athletes, especially at Wilmington High. I think they deserve a lot of credit just for coming in here and dealing with me, but to get the word out about what kind of athletes and students these kids are. So I'd like to thank Anae and Alyssa and Carolyn for coming in. I wish Carolyn good luck next year. We'll see you on the basketball court. The two of you, good luck in your future going forward at UConn and at UMass Amherst. And for Wildcat Sports Update, this is Jim Boyle, and we'll see you on down the road.